right, hey everybody, and welcome to today's session for the Instructor Community Call. My name, as always, is Kyle Rosenthal, and I welcome you to the October edition of this. Really excited to have you with us, as always, and thank you for taking time out of your day to attend live, or if you're listening to the recording, and hopefully you get something out of it. So a little bit of housekeeping to start off with. If you are, on any of the social items, we are across all the socials on X, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Skillable, or Skillable, or Instagram at Skillable Labs. So, as always, feel free to promote the fact you're at the Instructor Community Call on there. If there's things that interest you around what we do, at the end of it, if there's something that you go, oh, that was a really great thing that I learned or whatever, then feel free to drop that in as well, because it does, make sure that other instructors do get to see what we're what we're doing, and potentially come along next month to the next one. All right. So, having said that, the agenda for today will be first off, overall welcome, etc. Then we're going into an overall look at events with Joey. Joey Snow. Most of you, or some of you, might know of him as being one half of Patch and Switch. Last month we had Rick on, who's the other half of Patch and Switch. But both Rick and Joey have certainly been around the Microsoft event world for a number of years. And what I wanted to do was have a chat with Joey around like some of the approach that you might have as someone who wants to make the leap from an instructor to a presenter at events such as Ignite, plus as well as that, we talked last month around the MCT summits and that sort of thing. There's a lot of opportunity for us as instructors to be able to present at other places. So, I wanted to have a chat with him around some of the tips and tricks he might have around that. Then move on to our favorite part, the instructor recognition, where we get to call out the folk that have had achievements since the last time we met, and be able to basically just promote the fact of what you as the instructors do. And then hopefully we'll have some time at the end for just open Q&A and that sort of thing. So I know we haven't had that the last month because we just ran out of time last month, but hopefully this month, because it was an action-packed one last month, so hopefully this month we might get some time. Speaking today, myself and Joey Snow. Joey, now his role within Microsoft is as a Principal Security Cloud Advocate Lead, which is a mouthful of a title. He is still very community focused and that sort of thing as well. So hasn't forgotten the little people. Which if any of you have met Joey, you will recognise that most people are little people to Joey, because he is one of the tallest humans I've ever met. All right, a little bit of an update around some of the courses. The courses that are listed there still are unavailable. By now, if you're in that space, you know of all the reasons for it. We are still working on solutions. It's just not there as yet. Solutions that are coming, we don't have any ETA as to when that's going to be as yet. It'll be sometime that we have that come through. But as soon as we have solutions, that'll be sent out to your operations folk to make them aware of the updates and things being available, etc. Okay. All right. However, there is some newly published courses that are out now. So most of these are in the ILT versions of the applied skills. So a couple of Azure courses, a couple of AI courses, and a database courses or data course as well. So those labs are now available. As always, if you do want to go in and practice those or have a look at them, as MCTs, you do have access to be able to go to all of to be able to apply, to be able to get access to all the MCT access to all the labs. Particularly if it's things that you are not sure of, that you haven't played around with before, that you now want to try and have a look at. Maybe even it's just stretching out your your own skills. Then doing things like having a look at, say, for instance, the Copilot or any of the AI courses can help you, because let's face it, as we've discussed, AI is definitely going to be the future of where we're at. So therefore, get ahead of it, so that you can then start looking to see how it's going to impact your training, how it's going to impact on the discussions that you might have with your students. Rightio. So yes, so new courses. Now, I do often get asked, actually, just on that note, I've had questions from training partners around, hey, when's this course coming out? When's that course coming out, etc. The course this list of courses that I grab each month is actually directly off our public website, and on that public website, if you go to the mock part of the Skillable website, you actually get to see on there the updates for newly published courses, plus as well as that, any of the ones that are almost ready to go. Right, so there'll be ones that are still in the pipeline that aren't there, but there'll be one like but the ones that are kind of just about ready to go, you'll see in there as well. So it kind of gives you an idea about what that timing is going to be in the future. So it might be a good place to be able to refer your operations folk to be able to get to what's the what's the next sort of step, and or when something going to be available. Now I am kind of padding for time just a little bit, because Joey hasn't arrived as yet. So I have pinged him just to see where he's at, but he's not here as yet. So what I might do is we might, for the moment, just skip over Joey's session, or Joey's part of the session for the moment, in the hope that he is going to join us soon. And instead, I'm going to jump over to our instructor recognition. Now, as you know, for those that have been joining us, for over time, this is one of my favorite parts of what we do. It is a really good way to be able to see the impact that you as instructors have in a much bigger picture than what we normally have in the classroom, right? In the classroom, you see, 5, 10, 15, 30 people in front of you. That's all you see, right? But what happens is, when you start looking at some of the numbers that are in here, you start seeing some of those numbers add up. And when they start adding up, you then realize the impact that you have, right? The amount of students that you've had come through your classroom, and that you have made a difference to, right? Now, that difference may be small. It may be that they had a nugget of information they've taken away, that then becomes something that they know about for the future, right? When it comes up in their job, they go, I know how to do that because Mark gave me that information, right? Or it could be something that actually assists them to pass an exam, and that by passing the exam, that gets them a promotion, right? So you've had a hand in doing that. So regardless of whether it's your first student that you've had come through your class, whether it's your first class, or whether it's your 100th class or 500th class, it's going to be the same. Rightio. Just bear with me a second, because Joey has just sent me a message saying that he can't find something in his calendar. So let me see if I can just send him the link. So hopefully he's going to join us shortly. All right. Anyway, while he's doing that, while he's getting himself sorted out and hopefully appearing soon, this is all on the fly, right? Let's have a look at instructor recognition. So first class delivered. So 185 instructors had their first class delivered in the last month. We had, 25, 30, 50, 100, and 750 classes developed. Delivered, delivered by Mary Ellis. So really huge congratulations, Mary, for that. There was some concern around the number of the fact that we had 666 badges issued. It's in September, but we'll get past that because we're going to have even more next month, I'm sure. All right, but yeah, so really huge congratulations to Mary. That is an amazing number of folk that you've had an impact on in your world. All right, what about the number of students that have been reached? Right, so the number of students that have been reached. Again, we had 189 folk get their first student. We had 250 students. So we had we had 250 students reach. We had 38 people that did that. All the way up to our 2,000 students, right? So Anita, Hiromichi, Ronan, and Wesley, and then huge congratulations, massive number, 5,000 students reached. Sherry. So congratulations, Sherry. That is an amazing achievement to be able to get that many students through. And again, those numbers add up, right? If you think about how many students you've had come through your class, how many students you are now going to you're having that impact on, and then how many students they have an impact on, or how many people they have an impact on in their lives. It's amazing the reach that we have as students, as instructors. So huge congratulations to all of those folk, and to the impact that you're having on your wider community. All right, Joey is in the process of joining. So what we might do is just as we he's now here. Joey, do you want to? You'll need to come to the front stage. You need to come to the stage in order for us to be able to hear you. So if you come forward, is he coming?
I clicked the button.
Hey.
Hello.
All right, so now we are live. First time, I know it's first time caller, long time listener, right? But
yeah, long time caller, first time listener. Yes.
All right, now Joey, at the moment, I don't think we can see your. Oh, maybe we can. I'm on the wrong page. That's right. I was thinking I can't see you, and it's because I was on the wrong place. Let me go turn this off for a second so we can see more of you. Hey, how are you doing?
Great, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for joining us. We've changed around a little bit how we're doing, so we've kind of moved something at the back forwards that we had. We've got plenty of time for you, and also been able to do the rest of the stuff that we wanted to do. So
look at me causing all of the problems as usual.
Well, it's what we've expected from you, Joey. So, Joey, before we go too much further, for those folk that don't know you as well as perhaps I do, do you want to just give us a little bit of an introduction about who you are, what you do, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So my name is Joey Snow. I am a principal cloud advocate at Microsoft, and I focus on security now. But in the past, I've got a really long time of history working in IT infrastructure, IT operations. I've been at Microsoft 16 years now, I think, is what we're at. So we're like that. And yeah, that's kind of basically me in a quick little nutshell there.
All right. Now I just realized I sent you my personalized link to join the session. So you're
So
actually
I'm also
joined as,
Kyle.
yeah, you're also Kyle. I don't know if that's a promotion or a demotion, but I think it's somewhere in that range.
Well, if you could teach me how to have the right accent, I think that would be good.
So Joey, the reason that I asked you along today was because, like, obviously we go back quite a way within the Microsoft event world, and in particular, like with I've seen you present, I've seen you organize speakers, I've all that sort of thing. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of to have a chat with you about was making that leap from someone, like, say, for instance, if someone is a trainer and wants to be able to get involved in actually doing presentations or presenting at events, like, and whether it be it's something, on the scale of an Ignite, or last month we had the MCT Summit folk were in, like in their house talking about the MCT Summit in Europe as well as the one in North America. So I just wanted to kind of have a chat with you around a few of that sort of topic, right? Around what is it that we would do? Like, how does someone go about the process of I want to speak to, like, at an event?
So, look, there's a lot of different ways that you end up, kind of in the position to speak, whether it's growing your network, being invited. But the most typical way is responding to a CFP or a call for presentations. And when you respond to a call for presentations, then you need to have a really, really good idea of exactly what it is that you want to present, and hopefully differentiate what you want to present in some way, shape, or form, which generally comes through the session topic and really highlighted through a good abstract. All too often I see, particularly with folks who have been presenting kind of the same stuff for a very long time, they lean very much on, well, I've delivered this particular session a bunch of times and there might not be anything kind of new or super compelling. So, like, you kind of write it as if you've kind of taken the abstract or the topic from the same thing that's been around for a very long time. You're not bringing your own difference and your own nuance to the topic, or something that really grabs the attention of somebody who is really looking at and evaluating the CFP. And somebody who looks at a lot of session titles and abstracts, I've been on a kick lately, and I'm not a promote. Like, there's a book that I read, and I forget the people who wrote it, but it's called Smart Brevity, and I've been on this kick about brevity, and my poor team, if anybody from my team is watching this, going, "Oh, here he goes again on this thing." But all too often, an abstract starts with all of these glossy, big adjective verb words, and I read them and I go, there's a lot of words there, but I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
Right.
And it's not about the flowery language, the marketing language. Like, it's get to the point quickly, particularly now as I'm starting to see more and more conferences are actually asking for shorter titles and shorter abstracts.
Right.
They're really looking for a very clear view of what you're presenting. And so it's, making sure and you could read, there's probably hundreds of articles and things on proper abstract writing. Kyle, you and I sat in one probably years ago about how to write good abstracts, right? And a lot of that guidance is still kind of there, but really I appreciate that you've got a lot of knowledge and experience in a thing. You need to make sure that knowledge and experience in that thing is also relevant to who you're pitching to. And what is different about the way you're presenting it versus the way it's been presented 15 other times? Is there a new spin? Is there a new nuance? Some new piece of technology? Far too often we see the first sentence is, the world is undergoing, thousands of cyber attacks a minute, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And what is different here? What is new? What is unique? And again, I want to be very cautious because there's oftentimes that it's also very valuable to have look, you are 5, 6, 7 years behind the current trends. The information that I want to present is valuable, but again, don't use that same title and abstract and wording that everybody else is using that doesn't make it unique and isn't clear to me. That's like, what am I getting out of this? What's the value of this? So there's a lot of things there, right?
Is it kind of like, it's like the analogy I would use is it's kind of like a resume, right? Or like you're sending that, like you don't want to be lost in the pile of all the other people who have exactly the same experience that you do. You've got, like, it has to be a little bit catchy. It has to be a little bit interesting. So it can't be just simply the same thing over and over again. And I would also dare say now it can't necessarily be AI generated because that's
well, listen.
Like,
Look, I mean, I'm as guilty as the next person for using AI to help, but I'm also trying to put my voice in, right? Because I'm really horrible at writing. And actually, some would argue with my tardiness here today, I'm also very horrible at making it to video recordings on time. But no, I've never been the greatest writer. So having a tool like using, Copilot or using, OpenAI and ChatGPT and some of those things, they're very helpful. But like, put yourself in the middle of this. And one of the biggest pieces of advice, look at it and go, would I spend money for this? Would I spend an hour of my time to sit and look at this content? I mean, you may be the end all be all presenters on, some Windows Server topic, but put yourself into the shoes of somebody who's paying a lot of money, or even at a free event. Your time is money, right? So I'm looking at two different things. Would I go to session A or session B, and what makes that? And the cool thing about using AI is you can actually have it help you balance things. You can say, make this a little more professional, make this a little bit more fun, help me find different words to describe these things, which will help you stand out. So again, don't just go in and say, you are a technical presenter. Now write me an abstract of 185 characters and no spaces, right? With run-on paragraph. Like it'll spit out what you tell it to. You've got to put your voice in that. And again, that perspective is, as somebody who looks at hundreds, right? There's conferences that will get hundreds of titles and abstracts. We're kind of looking at it like we kind of have this chart, and it's like, okay, we've got to get these topics solved, and then we want to have the best presenting or the best topic for the topics covered, the best sessions to cover those. And we're really looking at what is the differentiator. And if that's not showing up in your abstract, I have no idea that you've got the most killer tool that you're going to be debuting at this that's going to solve for a big problem, or you have cracked the code on some deployment that's going to make things a lot easier. If that's not showing up in your abstract, or it's buried in flowery, marketing. I don't want to take shots at marketing, but like lots of words that it doesn't. There's oftentimes I'll read something and it's funny. Rick will send me something, and Rick Claus, my buddy and boss, and he'll send me something. I'll be like, "There's a lot of words there." And he'll go, "Okay," and I go, "Yeah, I don't know what this is. There's just words." Yep. Yes. Beavis and Butthead. Words. You've got to have that hook that gets you early on in whatever that abstract is, and doesn't lose you as it goes through. What about getting like the experience? Because, like, say for instance, someone going and presenting, like, say for instance, if you've been a trainer presenting in a classroom, for however many years that might be, whether it's 1, whether it's 20, making that leap from going from a classroom to a stage. Yeah. What's that like? What sort of preparation should you have for that? Like, what's the you've done the good abstract,
you've had the session accepted.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so practice is perfect. Be prepared. So that's the first thing. And by practice, I mean you should know the talk inside and out. You should know the demo, everything inside and out. You should. I always recommend if you can jump online and do it to a few people there and get feedback. I'm a big fan of I've had several folks who I mentor go through like Toastmasters and get a chance to get into that world, because in a classroom, outside of the one-day courses, and even a one-day course, you have like 15 or 20 minutes just to say, hi, I'm Joey, this is who I am, we're going to be together and we're going to chat about these things, and it's smaller and it's more intimate. Versus some of these stages, you walk out and it's like, whoa, there's hundreds of chairs there, and it's just you in this room, and you probably can't even see them with the big lights. So it's all about preparation. And in that environment, on that stage, it's a little bit different than in a classroom. I mean, it's still kind of the same concept, but it's far less intimate. And it's just, look, you've got to have everything prepared. Know what could potentially go wrong, know how to deal with it. One of the things that makes me kind of crazy now is everybody's like, oh, the demo gods aren't with us today. I very much have an attitude of, there is no demigod. It's just you were not prepared to handle whatever the situation was. And again, that is, you can have backups. And here's my number one tip when it comes to like demos and some of those things. And even if something doesn't go particularly right in your session, 90+% of your audience has no freaking idea that something's gone wrong.
Right. Yep. And
they won't until you call it out. And so when you go, oh, well, that's not what I was expecting, right? Particularly today, if you're demoing something in Copilot or using AI, your output, like you may prompt the same way. What it returns half the time is nowhere near what you were prepared for. And even if you think that it's prepared, I'll give you an example. I was doing a presentation at Microsoft Build, and I was doing a demo of how to properly use meta prompting to protect data coming in, data coming out, right? And I had fully prepared when I did a particular prompt for it to come back and give me the same thing it had given me the 40 other times. And it didn't. It flat out it refused to give me this information because something had changed in the back end from the time that I did it. And the one thing I just did is I said, now, oh, look, that's exactly what I was expecting here, even though on the inside I'm going, what has changed here? But you'll notice that the reason why this happened and the reason I was able to react that way is because I was prepared for that. And I understand if it gave me this prompt back basically saying, look, this is hate speech, I can't respond this way. Even though prior to that, I'd been able to give it, let it provide me that information so that I could show it. I'm like, see, this is exactly why you want to use this particular piece here. And so it is about that preparation. And it's not a massive jump. And honestly, Kyle, it's not a massive jump to go from normal breakout to like a keynote style presentation, right? Where you're on stage as a component of the keynote or even as the keynote speaker yourself, right? It's more preparation. And it's, again, knowing the ins and outs. Now, when I say preparation, that preparation does not equal memorization.
No.
Because if you're going up there and it sounds like you've written a script, like I always say, we have a script. We have demo scripts. We know what the steps are on even the smallest of sessions. Rick and I were doing a session on presentation readiness and proper demoing. We had a script. It didn't sound like there was a script, but there was 100%. We know these are the things that we're going to cover in this allotted time. And when we do these demos, this is exactly what we're going to show and what the resultant piece of that demo is going to be. And then we're prepared for whatever potential options are. And then worst case is if things are really going south, you eject and you just simply go, hey, look, due to time considerations, this is what we expect to see. It's taking us a little bit longer over there with the spinny wheel. So, let me tell you, this is what the output of that is going to be. And now let's move on to the next section, which is this. Preparation beats 90% of things.
And part of that, just to pick up that note, like if you've got something where you're actually expecting an output, having a version of that output to be able to display, particularly like if you're dealing with like, you know, we've all had it with cloud services, right, that for whatever reason have decided on that particular day not to respond as quickly as you need to.
Yes.
Having a copy of that output so that you can then go, look, this is what the output will look like, and be able to flick to that, rather than, as you say, just watching the spinning wheels. Because and again, most of the audience you're dealing with, you're right, they won't know what you're presenting, but as well as that, most of the audience will have been in that same circumstance before, where something doesn't come back as quickly as what's expected. But if you can then show them what it will be when it comes back, then that's also like an outcome. You go, hey, you know, it's the TV dinner, right? It's the TV chef. It's here's what I prepared earlier,
and here's what I did earlier. Yeah, and the same thing. Like, look, as technical people, we love to see the live action demo, right? We love to see it live and in person. But there's also times that you walk up to a place and their internet connection is 2 tin cans and some string. Right? I mean, you and I have been in venues where literally they had 2 separate internet pipes coming in. There was a failure in one, and then a backhoe pulled out the other one. So you've got nothing, right? So it's okay. Or in situations where maybe like with AI and some of these things where the prompt that you want is not going to come back. There's no guarantee that you're going to get exactly what you need. You need a controlled environment. It's okay to have that recording. Be honest. Say, look, this is a recording that I did earlier. I'm just going to show you this really quick. Or, you know, we've done demos of file server migrations or AD migrations, right? On-prem AD, and it's like those things take hours, and we've just done. So we previously recorded it. Insert Benny Hill music on top to make it look like it's gone a lot faster, right? But again, that is the preparation that I'm talking about, Kyle. And it's not just on the demos, it's also on your talking points and your talk track. I guarantee you say you think you've got you've vetted your slides down, you're good to go, you've got all your notes, you've got the best slide deck in the world. Your timing when you get on that stage goes right out the freaking window, right? Be prepared. What am I going to do? What in every slide can I maybe not talk about, maybe cut down? Because I've delivered this over and over and over. And I even record yourself. This is, I mean, set up your cell phone up against, you know, your house plant or whatever, record yourself, watch it. Like I mentioned earlier, get some friends online. With technology today, you can use your collaboration apps and so on and so forth, and get that feedback, and then figure out, like, what is it? Every single slide. What do I have to get out of this? What is kind of important? What can I throw out if I needed to? Like, it's all important, right? In the grand scheme of things, but a demo takes longer. The previous presenter takes longer. The keynote has gone long. And so you're now 45-minute session is now 42 minutes. And I think that's the thing, like, sort of there's two things that I've learned from like, you know, those like event sessions, that thing. One is to be flexible. So as you say, like, you know, things change, right? The other thing is, and this was a big one for me when I made the leap from being like from doing training to actually presenting at, you know, large events, is that you're the only one with a microphone. and you're the only one who knows what you're saying. That's right.
So like whereas like in, say for instance, in a classroom, right, you know, you might have the ability, like you might have the we'll make this up tomorrow. We'll come back early after lunch, and that's like, you've got 45 minutes, you've got 60 minutes, it is a very finite time. And one of the things that grinds my gears is that the instructor the presenter that goes, well, okay, we'll go a little bit over time. It's okay. It's not, because the people who are in the room have to go somewhere. The people who are coming into the room have to get in, and there's only a finite time to do that changeover. So you need to make sure you're in that time. And the second part of that is then when you realize you are running out of time, because the first couple of times you do these sort of things, you will stack it with so much information. Because you're like, I've got to say everything. I've got to
I have to say everything, all the words.
It's everything in here, and if I don't do it, then I'm not going to get invited back because people won't think I'm smart, and all this sort of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, as I said, you're the only one with the microphone. You're the only one that knows what you're saying. So as you get towards the end of your session and you realize you are getting horribly out of time and you have to start chopping things out, that's not the time to say we're running out of time.
Nope.
Because you're not running out of time, you're going over time.
Yep.
Like that's
nobody, nobody has your agenda. Nobody has your timing. You control that. You have that microphone. And listen, Kyle, sessions are not getting longer nowadays. Right? COVID absolutely wiped away people's ability to sit there and pay attention for long periods of time. Right? COVID and social media and all the other things. And which is why, again, I'll reference the smart brevity piece, which is like, if you can't get like one slide pops up, if you're not delivering the key message of what that slide is without reading every single thing on it very, very rapidly, and especially early, and grabbing that attention, right? I'm going to solve for this. If you're taking forever to get that payoff, this isn't a rock concert, right? You're not saving, your number one single till the encore. Like you need to come out and you need to drop that like pretty quickly, right? And get that information. Yeah. And then you can add on top of that, right? So you really need to showcase that. And that comes from, the abstract to the outline to the presentation itself. And then the piece that you talked about, like the going over time, you can edit if you know your stuff, if you know what's there, I absolutely must get that. And I delivered it because the first thing you need to deliver is this. And then the rest of that stuff is filler. It's stuff that you can help, add on and provide more context and provide more information on. But that key point for each of those pieces in each of the sections of your presentation. And I like to do mine in 3 or 4 acts. That's just how I like to do mine. I know what I'm going to deliver, and I try to hit that right at the beginning. I'm not saving some big glorious thing. I'll give an example. It was a black hat t-shirt. There was a session where the guy left the biggest thing till 5 minutes before the end of the session, and people left.
Yep.
Because they're like, this is not what he promised in the title and the abstract. And I'm 45 minutes into this thing, and I've got to go from, upstairs 3 buildings down to, a 15-minute walk to another room. I'm not interested. I'm not going to stick around for that.
And that's actually like you bring up another really important point, which is when you're doing a delivery of a session in like if it's been advertised, this is what the topic is, this is what's going to be covered in it. You absolutely have to make sure that you do that, right? That you don't go don't go off topic onto something else or start delivering something because this is probably going to be more like what people want, because people are in the session because they've read your abstract.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore your presentation has to meet the abstract. Otherwise, they'll talk with their feet, or their emails afterwards. So
far too often, I'll see, particularly, at our big first party events at Microsoft, is I'll see even execs make this mistake where they spend all this time for this big setup. And oftentimes I'm just like, just start with the demo. Yeah. Why are we doing an intro slide and all this stuff? I'm here because and again, that's the other thing. It's very funny, Kyle, because there was a time when I'm like, that intro slide, this is the whole reason I'm here, man. I just want this room of people to know that I am this person and I've got this certification and I'm the expert to talk about this stuff. And half the time now, I just get uncomfortable. I'm like, hi, I'm Joey. I do this stuff for a living. Hey, do you want to see something really cool? And jump right into the demo, right? And that's, again, that's just as much of an attention grabber as other things. One more quick story. I went through a speaker training when I first joined Microsoft through this premier speaker training thing, and guys just you really need a hook. You need to tell a joke. You need to tell a limerick or a story. And I'm like, dude, He's like, because people won't pay attention to you. I go, dude, I'm 6'6". I've got a big, loud, booming voice. I'm pretty sure when I walk on stage, people are gonna, I don't need to have, some quirky story about Ben Franklin, right? I could just start off with, so there's this really cool thing I saw. Let's look at this. And that all of a sudden they're like, oh wow, and we're just jumping right into the thing, right?
Yeah.
That said, there's also just the same amount of place to go and set up the scenario and go, look, we know this is what's happening in the industry. And in security sessions, far too often, like it's like people are just like, security is something somebody else worries about. Where we literally have to go, so the other day this happened. You want to know why? It's because this person didn't do this thing. And that person's not a security expert. That person is Dave the junior admin. And we all have Dave the junior admin in the company, right? and everybody relates to the, like, so again, you don't have to do all these. It's just part of it. And making sure that you've got that hook.
Yeah, I think part of that also comes with confidence over time as well. Like when you're first starting out, like that's it's I think part of that the introducing yourself, that's is actually a little bit of you giving yourself the permission to be in the room as well. It's like this. Yeah. These are all the things that I know. That's why I'm here. Once you're over that initial, the for want of a better term, the imposter syndrome, right? Like, why am I the one on this big stage? Once you get past that and you get a little bit more confidence in it, then I think that's where that, I'm Kyle, this is what I do, this is some stuff that I do. Let's go. Right?
I've been doing this for 20 plus years, right? Yeah. I still feel sick to my stomach and have the butterflies when I do a session, whether it's in person or virtual, right? I'm sitting here staring at a teleprompter here, and I still kind of go, we're doing this thing. And I'll tell you what, the minute I don't have those is the time that I have to retire and get off the stage.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like it is confidence with time. It's the same, we have the same in the classroom, right? Your first class versus your 750th class is a very different experience, right? And so but you're right, the nerves are a very important part of it. Nerves are what keeps us on our toes and makes it so a little bit more exciting when we're speaking as well. Like sort of, if you've got someone who is
permission, like give yourself permission to be nervous, give yourself like the audience will and just get up there and just take a big deep breath. And again, that I would first time speaker, my co-presenter at Bill, Richard Diver, who's is a brilliant dude and he's really awesome. And he's just like, I don't know why I'm up on stage with this guy. And I'm like, dude, 10x more than I would ever know on this subject, but like, just take a deep breath. They don't know any different either.
Yeah, exactly.
What they do know is when it gets, when you're showing it, right? Sometimes it's all right to go, yeah, this is a little nerve-wracking, isn't it? All right, here we go. And give yourself permission to do, you can do that on stage. There's nothing wrong with that, because if you look like you're uncomfortable on that stage, the audience knows that you're uncomfortable with that on stage.
Yeah.
That comfort will come with you knowing, I know this stuff inside out, backwards, sideways. Anything that possibly could go wrong, I probably have something with it. If not, I'm going to make it up because they don't know any different. And then give yourself permission to just have that moment. If it's your first time, you don't have to announce to them it's your first time. Probably don't recommend that, but you can just go, all right, big breath. Now we can go on, right? And you can have that moment, but you can be human, right? We're not robots.
And mostly the flip side of that as well, or the add to that as well, is that there's very rarely going to be a time when you're presenting to an audience who is not wanting you to be there. Like, if that makes sense. Like, like it's not like going into you're not in a you're not in a courtroom on trial, right? You're in an audience who you're presenting to an audience who is there wanting to hear what you say.
Yep.
And and as we said, they don't necessarily know what you're going to say, so you can say whatever you like, but they're wanting to hear what you're saying. And it's gonna there is a chance they might turn on you, but they're not going to come out with pitchforks, right? Like most venues now have scanners, so therefore there's no pitchforks going to be available. So
I mean, I may bring in some tomatoes to throw at Kyle, but that's a little different. That's I'm there to deliver those tomatoes to Kyle. That's the whole reason.
My only request this time, Joey, is to take them out of the can first.
I learned that lesson. My apologies. I'm still apologizing for that one.
All right. Well, Joey, I think that's probably covered everything that I kind of hoped to get within here. One other quick question, sort of adjacent to that, right? Is, in your experience attending or going to events and that sort of thing, what would be your piece of advice for someone going as an attendee
for the first time to something like this?
Yeah, well, first time, or first time in a while, might, because
it's been a hot minute since we've done these.
Yeah.
No, so it is go with the plan. Understand sessions are recorded. They're available for you to consume after, assuming that the conference is doing it that way, right? So make a plan and be prepared to adjust or deviate from that plan. The most important thing, sessions are awesome. Sessions are great. I prefer the networking side of things personally. So I give myself that time to network, and then give yourself time to just shut off. Don't overbook yourself top to bottom. My employer's paying for this. I've got to show value. You kill yourself to where at the end you're sick for 2 weeks after. It is, have your plan, know what you absolutely have to do, know what you can modify. It's similar to what I was talking about on the session, right? What I have to modify it. Give yourself that time to break off and to have those moments, and then that networking time, and just enjoy yourself. These things are fun. We lost a lot of the fun, and I want to get back to having that fun.
Yeah. No, I look at that's really good advice, and I'm in the same sort of the networking side of it. I think is the far more it's the bit that you can't do anywhere else. Yeah. It's the bit that you have you have to do on site. It's the bit that we've got to get back to doing well, because that was what we for all the success that was from for virtual conferences and that sort of thing. That was the one thing that was never never able to get to the same level.
I have relationships and friendships, professional, personal friendships with people all over the globe for decades, going back decades, including present person in the room, which it was a long time ago when we did those first events together, and they're in my network, and I can reach out to them when I have questions or if I want to bounce something off of them. And no matter what job I currently have or they currently have, right? And those things are super valuable, important, and you will probably learn more from your peers than sitting in a room for 45 minutes. You'll get down the pathway, and you'll just be like, so he's talking about this. If you ever experienced that particular thing, what are you doing? And somebody else goes, oh yeah, we did that. We did that 6 months ago. We're ahead of the curve. Don't do these things, and then let me know if I can help you. And you never know when that opportunity comes up, or you might be looking for another role, or that person isn't. Oh, hey, I know who this person is. I should reach out to them, right? Yeah. Or I need advice, and I've never done this thing before, but that person has. So the relationships, the friendships, and the connections that I've made through these conferences over the years, that is a key part. And so give yourself time to do that. Give yourself time to ask the questions of the experts in the booth too.
Yeah, absolutely. Go find them and make those connections, because they're also people that you can reach out to if you have something, as long as you know who they are, right? So, and it becomes, do you remember I spoke to you at the booth, and if it's at the booth, they probably won't remember, because it was 4,000 people that spoke to at the booth.
We'll pretend. Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. You were the guy with the thing. No, I wasn't. But but yeah, like the networking side and there's certainly the for me the friendship side has been a huge part of it as well. So the ability to be able to, like, for me, I can go to most cities in the world and be able to go and have a beer with someone.
Yep.
And that's a pretty powerful thing as well. And all of that tracks back to things that have happened at events and putting yourself out there a little bit there as well. So
yep, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. Put yourself, even you may not be confident in putting yourself out there, but listen, you're probably with the several thousand other people who very much are like that, and so just do it and like just get out there. I
always find I get event confidence. I don't have the same if like on the street, no confidence, right? But at an event, you're amongst people who are the same, right? So therefore, everyone's like there'll be everyone's kind of in that same place. So makes it much easier to be able to make connections and to be able to someone walks by and say, "Oh, hey, your backpack's undone," like that, that sort of thing, right? Which in the street it'd be like, "Oh, that guy's backpack's undone."
but here it's like, oh, your cables are all falling out, or whatever. No,
everyone's there for the same purpose. So
yep, exactly right.
All right, well, perfect. Thank you very much, Joey. I really appreciate you joining us. And
I apologize for my tardiness and lack of apparently I technical issues. And you're not the first one for today, so I believe that I've uncovered a particular issue that needs to be reported.
But in the true theme of what we've been talking about, what we did was we just rolled with it and we kept on going, knowing that eventually it would be fixed, and then we came back to when it was.
Exactly. So. And look, I can be Kyle.
That's right. Enjoy the weather down here. It's this low as opposed to the heights that you're normally used to.
I was gonna say enjoy the weather in Australia, dude. I'm in Vegas. It's gorgeous outside. So.
No. I meant the atmosphere, really.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It definitely. Look, every time I sit down, I have to deal with the additional oxygen, right? So.
All right. Well, Joey, I will hopefully see you next month in Chicago. So
yes, sir.
We'll catch up then. So thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And
got it.
We'll power on to the next thing. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So let me just do this next little bit just to wrap up where we are. So there's just in our wrap up. So instructor offers. If you aren't already part of them, make sure that you do go to skillable.com/offers and sign up for our access to the mock lab. Also get access to the all access passes, which is for our challenge labs. Some of you may have seen those as part of your some of the Microsoft courses, but there's more topics than what we include within the Microsoft courses. As well as that's where you can go to sign up for the instructor recognition and be able to get part of that. So, so let's jump forward to the resources. So make sure you have those bookmarks for the skillable.com/mock, as well as for the instructor recognition and dashboard. And if you are on Slack, make sure you join into the Slack conversation. We do really appreciate your time coming in and spending it with us for the last hour or so. And hope to see you for the next one. Thank you very much to Joey for him coming and spending time with us. Really appreciate it. It's always good to have a chat with him. Next month we will be in Chicago with Ignite. I'm also going to be in Europe later on this month in Paris and Berlin with the Microsoft AI tour. So if you are in any of those cities, please swing by the lab rooms and say hello and introduce yourself. So it'd be always good to get out there and to see folk that we speak to. But thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. and we'll see you next month.